What can Dewey 2 do for you? We discuss on today's episode of Locked on Wild.
You're Locked on Wild. Your daily podcast on the Minnesota Wild. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is happening, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Locked on Wild, your daily Minnesota Wild podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for making Locked on Wild your first listen each and every day. If this is your first time tuning into Locked on Wild, we welcome you on board. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast platforms. Maybe even leave us a 5-star review, and make sure that you enjoy as we guide you through the rest of the offseason. On today's episode of Locked on Wild, Marissa Voss joins us to talk Connor Dewar expectations for the upcoming season. We'll take a look at where he could potentially land in terms of goals, and we'll talk about his responsibilities for the team as well. My name is Seth Topal, your daily Minnesota Wild insider, joined, as mentioned, by Marissa Voss of 10,000 Takes and Wild Takes to talk about her bestie, Connor Dewar. Marissa, a pleasure to have you back on, and we'll be having you on more throughout the season as well for a to-be-revealed later bit. But glad to have you back on. How's it going?
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, I love coming on Locked on Wilds. When you said to jump on and maybe do some more things here in the future, I was so excited. I'm doing well. Omaha, Nebraska, got done with work and went for a run, and now I'm talking Minnesota Wild hockey. Can it get here already though? Can hockey start?
Yeah, it's October 12th. Who's counting though? I am. It's going to be here before we know it, and so we have tried to take everything that you could possibly need to know about this season and blow it up into Locked on Wild Boot Camp, which we've been doing since the month of August started, and now we're getting into the part of this where we go player by player with expectations. We'll take a look at stat projections, and it seems fitting, since we start with the top line with everything, that we flip it and we start with the fourth line. So we talked a little bit about them at large with Alex yesterday, and now we're talking Connor Dewar here today. So, Marissa, let's get right down to the hard-hitting topics. Connor Dewar, I don't think he ever gets enough appreciation for just the type of player that he has become. Just what sort of an ace in the deck is Connor Dewar for this Minnesota Wild team?
You know, a lot of fourth liners get overlooked, especially in the NHL. And I think in this Minnesota Wild roster, especially last year, they are the bread and butter, right? When Mason Shaw went out with his fourth ACL tear, you could see that there was a tremendous change within how the Minnesota Wild play. And a lot of people were saying on Twitter when I brought that up, they're like, oh, it wasn't because of him. He's a nobody. But at the same time, if you don't have the guys who hit bodies on bodies, if you don't have the physical guys, the one that aren't maybe making as many goals or doing, the hot shot stuff, then you're still not going to have that great of a team. So I think especially with Connor Dewar, he does a lot for this team. Yeah, maybe he's not getting, he's getting the shorthanded goals more than he's getting the regular goals, but he's still getting the assists, right? He's building the plays. He's making sure to get defense going and putting, again, bodies on bodies. So I think he is really an ace. And I think if you see him, Duham, Mason Shaw, not be good and come back and not be on top of their game, that's going to make the Minnesota Wild roster crumble. Because fourth line guys, let me know, guys, fourth line guys are important. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of the lunch pail aspect of the team. Is they're not going to be the ones that are giving you 30, 40 goals a season, but it's just that little bit of kind of a change-up look for the top six to, hey, we're not how many times have we seen this team over the last few years where things may not be working well with line one or line two, and Dean rolls the fourth line out there and they give you just a hard-working shift. They can kind of get balance back and restored. And not only that, but we're also seeing Mr. Dewar emerge as quite the penalty killer on this team, to the point that now he is probably one of the better penalty killers on this team. He brings you great speed. He is a shorthanded goals ace. Honestly, there's a lot to like about what Connor Dewar brings to the table, and there's no reason to think that it can't continue as this season goes on. And I mean, the stats bear that out. 81 games this year. So let's count the things that we like. He's durable.
Yep.
81 games.
Mm-hmm.
He ended up with 6 goals, which was his career high, besting his previous career high of 2. He had 18 total points. His shots nearly doubled to 87. He shot a better percentage, albeit 6.9%, which is nice, but 6.9%. He hits everything that moves. He had 124 hits in 81 games. He had 50 blocks in 81 games. And he doesn't turn the puck over, only 10 giveaways. He had 50 penalty minutes, so it's not like he's hurting you a ton in that aspect. Just a really, really smart player that gives you quality minutes. Oh, and his minutes went up over the past year by almost a full minute over the course of a game. So just by and large, a good season that I think has potential to build into something better for this coming season.
I'd have to agree with everything that you said, but one thing that along all of that I loved is the fact that I think you're seeing Dewey too come into his own a little bit more. I mean, he got aggressive. We saw him fight last year, and that was like amazing because I was like, whoa, my boy is out there just throwing haymakers. And he's more passionate, because when with fighting and everything, what shows me is your passions, your adrenaline, you're running right, your things are running high, and you're just passionate about your guys and you want to back them up. Because if you're in hockey and you just want to win and not fight for your boys, what are you doing? So that's what I love to see from him, a little bit more passion. But yeah, his opportunity and his chance to take shots. He's like, give me the puck. I want to shoot some more. I'm getting a little bit more confident in my stick handling and my shooting and my offensive skills. Because I feel like he's more of a defensive forward in my eyes.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely not. 50 blocks, like you said, is impressive. But I think what I want to see more from Dewey too, and what I think we're going to see more, is just him scoring more goals, him getting more minutes, and hopefully to see Mason Shaw in there with him, not to stir it off, but man, I hope that farm boy is back, and I hope he's going to be better. I don't know how long he's going to be out for, if he's even going to be in this season. I don't know is a thing, but those two work well in tandem. Obviously, Dewham's going to be in the mix. So if you have a good steady fourth line, you're going to see Connor Dewar just be that ace, like you said, that he's going to be.
Light it up. Yeah, we like that. And also the fact that he had, I think, the quote of the year this past season, in which Kevin Gorg was talking to him about they did some deep sea fishing, and he said, Gorg asked him, well, what would you do if you came along on a shark? And Dewar responds with, I would fight it. And honestly, like, that speaks to what you're talking about a guy that just looks like he is kind of coming into his own, and a little bit of that personality too. Because, I mean, you could give me 100 different opportunities to answer that question. What are you going to do if you come upon a shark? A lot of them are going to involve fleeing the scene. Probably not going to be near the top of the list to say that I'd fight it. So
I'd fight it. Like, when he said that, my jaw literally dropped. And okay, I was like, huh? Because I think the Dewey 2 that we've seen is very quiet, very, very reserved, doesn't say those things and joke those things. Like, one of the main reasons why I'm blocked by Dewey 2's grandma on Twitter, if you didn't know, now you do know. Yes, I am blocked by Dewey 2's grandma, is because I made an expression that he was smiling when he was around Mason Shaw. I'm like, the only time like Dewey 2 ever shows emotion or like he's not dead inside is when he's by Mason Shaw. And his grandma chirped me and was like, there's a lot of people not to follow on Twitter, and you're one of them. And I was like, It's a joke. And then, of course, me being mean because I get a lot of haters, I replied with a meme and she blocked me. I
Well,
replied with the a gif me going, okay. And she blocked.
well, there you have it. For Connor Dewar's grandma, if she's listening.
I'm so sorry. Please.
It's a
I
joke.
literally, I'm, I love your son as a, not son, I love your grandson as a hockey player. I'm his, like, probably biggest supporter. So I need to still get a jersey, but please unblock me. Please. You would see if you like, and it's like hurts me because I'm like, if she would have looked at my profile, she would have seen I'm such a Dewey 2 stan. Like, it makes me upset. But also, like, I've gone down the deep dive of like looking for stuff and just kind of looking for content and like playing into like the Dewey 2 kind of mold, right? Of me being his number one fan. And I've seen some. Have you ever looked at his junior days?
No.
You should look at videos from his junior days. He has done a couple interviews. He's actually done interviews with players.
Oh my.
And it is funny. He has a ton of personality when he was younger. I don't know if he just because he got to the league or whatever, but those videos are gold. And I have it on good authority, people. Good authority that apparently his nickname in juniors was Pitbull.
Wow.
It said somebody watched him play, when he was for the Everett Silver Tips, and they called him Pitbull.
Well, that tracks with wanting to fight a shark. And honestly, like, I feel like a lot of players get up to the NHL level and just want to kind of get through the first year or so without, showing some of that personality. And it wouldn't surprise me if he was kind of in that same mold too. Like, I'm here. Let's just get situated, see how things go for a couple of years, and then start to fight some sharks. But,
yeah, fighting the sharks. That's Dewey 2 to a T.
yeah.
And I just, again, I think he has so much personality. I just don't know if he's more reserved or what the deal is, but I just thought that was really funny. And like, again, if you look at those, like I'm telling you people, I was like laughing because I was like, what? This is not the same Dewey 2 that we've seen that is like super serious. Like, I think he's a goofball. I just don't think he's shown that yet.
Well, we'll start to see more and more of it here as things go. We're gonna flip and look at some of Dewar's statistics, and we'll just play a little bit of over under and see where we think Dewar will land in his 2023-2024 season stats. That's on the way as we continue today's episode of Locked On Wilds after this. Our next partner is a product I use on a daily basis. And honestly, it comes down to the fact that AG1 can take your entire vitamin and supplement routine, multiple different bottles of supplements and vitamins. You got to get them all lined up, and you got to make sure that you take them before you go to work. You can take all of those and simplify them into one scoop. All it takes is one scoop of AG1 in a glass of water, and you are setting your body up for success with 75 high-quality vitamins and nutrients that help you with everything from your gut health to your energy throughout the day so that you don't crash at your desk like I used to do. If you want to get yourself into a better state of health, a comprehensive solution is what you need from your supplement routine. Try AG1 and you'll get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase. Head to drinkag1.com/NHL Network. That's drinkag1.com/NHL Network. Again, drinkag1.com/NHL Network. Check it out today. Continuing today's episode of Locked On Wilds. Once again, thank you for making Locked On Wilds your first listen each and every day. For the everydayers out there, we got a bonus episode coming for you later today. We're going to dive in and take a look at how Jack Pert has been doing at St. Cloud State with Nick Maxon. So make sure to stick around for that coming up later today. Also, while you're at it, make sure to give Marissa a follow on Twitter at Marissa Voss for continued Minnesota Wild content and just sports in general as well. So give Marissa a follow there so you don't miss out on any elite level social media content throughout the week. All right, let's do over-unders.
Okay.
For Connor Dewar. And we talked about the stats a little bit ago. And so I'm just going to start. Let's just start with goals. 6 goals in 81 games, Marissa. If you were forced to pick over or under, what do you think for Dewar this year for a goal total? Does he go over that, or is he going to be right at around 6 under? What are you thinking?
I think you're going to see a lot from Connor Dewar. And I think, again, you're going to see more aggressive. You're going to see more offense, shots on net. So give me the over.
I like it because here's a thought that I have been trying to put out there over the course of the offseason is the offense this past year, especially in 5-on-5, was atrociously bad.
Yes.
Like, we're talking just, abysmally bad. Like, I think they were 3rd worst in the entire NHL, which means you're not possessing the puck a lot, which means second chance opportunities not there. And that's a really good way to have 60 goals come off the board in a snap. I don't think this offense is going to do that for a second straight year. And so there should be more opportunities, should be better instances of puck possession. And so that should likely mean that some guys are going to be able to exceed their goal totals. And honestly, not to rag on Marcus Foligno for one. Foligno's getting older, and that third line as currently constructed is not exactly an offensive line. And so especially if the fourth line is playing a little better, no reason to suggest that those guys can't put some more goals on the board, especially given more opportunities.
I think that's going to be a key for Minnesota Wild success this year is getting the fourth line with goals and getting them more included. When you saw how well we did and how well we were doing, obviously Matt Boldy and going hot was a part of that, but also Ryan Reeves when he was on the fourth line. He was getting goals. He was getting pucks in the back of the net, and we never suspected that from him being on the fourth line. So that's what makes this team great is not just the first 2 lines contributing to the offense. It's every single line. And again, that doesn't mean that Connor Dewey, who only has 6 goals last year, isn't going to get how many goals this year. He could have a breakout year. Anybody could. But I think that's what you're going to see is guys need to step up. You can't have the same old Kirill Kaprizov carrying the team. We can't have that this year. And I don't think we will. I think you're going to see all these different guys step up, be included in the offense, and hopefully take us somewhere. I'm not thinking we're going to go to the Stanley Cup. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a tough season potentially, but getting guys included that aren't just 97 are going to be crucial. And I think you're going to see my Dewey too. I think you're going to see him up there.
I like that. So we're going to also see Dewar be the primary center on that fourth line. Mason Shaw held that post last year up until he got hurt. And then Dewar filled in with Ryan Reeves on that line as well. But it's going to be Dewar's spot this year. And Dewar, I throw this stat out there. Face-off percentage can be good in some instances. It doesn't mean a lot some other times. But he was at 44.1% in the face-off dot this past season. Going to have a ton more opportunities this year. Over or under 44% in the dots for Dewey too.
I don't want to be keep going over, but I just have a feeling in my bones that he's going to do really well. I think we're going to go over because I think he's going to find his own, him being center, trying to fill his role. Obviously, again, he's going to miss Mason Shaw, who is one of his chemistry and components, but I think you're going to see him do some great things. So I'm going over.
Let's talk shorthanded goals.
Oof.
3 of them this past year. And the thing I love about a penalty kill shorthanded goal is that if you can intercept the puck at the top of the zone, there's nobody but the goalie between you and the net. And so I would imagine if they continue to play this more aggressive style, which I'd be shocked if they don't, should lead to more shorthanded opportunities or at least a similar number. Do you think Connor Dewar cashes in again at a rate that he did with 3 shorthanded goals? Or are you going over or under there?
That one's hard because I don't think everybody realizes how hard shorthanded goals are, and for him to get like 3, and yes, I do think it's just hard. I think maybe that one's so hard for me because I don't want to keep going over, but at the same time, he just has that ability to intercept the puck. He has that ability to take it all the way, being one man down, and it was almost 4, I think, multiple times within the season that he had those opportunities. He's just got a knack for it. And some players do. They can see that, they have that IQ, they have that level of vision, even being a man down. So I think you're going to see 3, if not maybe 4, but we're not going to go anywhere from 5 to 6 to 7. That would be like egregious. But I think you will see potentially Dewey too still being in that 3 to 4 range because he's just got an eye for it. I couldn't do it. I wouldn't be able to, but some players do.
I can't skate.
I can't. So, I mean, I can only skate really forward. I can't back or do a stop. So
I could probably stay upright, but that'd be about it. So those are probably the key areas for Dewar. Other than number of vibes achieved with new line mate Pat Maroon, who came in to add a little experience to the mix. It'll be Duhaime, Dewar, and Maroon on the fourth line. And so number of vibes achieved with that fourth line. I'm setting the over-under at 1 million. Oh. Actually, I'm setting it at infinity.
Okay, there it is. I can't top that because, yes, I was going to say absolutely over. I think you're going to see Pat, and prove me wrong here, Seth, but I think you're going to see Pat take Ryan Reeves' role within that fourth line. And he's going to fit right in. He's going to be a little bit that energy guy. He's going to be that goofball in the locker room. He's going to be the one who brings that oomph to the fourth line and even to this Wild roster. I mean, obviously that's what Ryan Reeves did. He was a great locker room guy and he was a great vibes guy. And I think Pat's going to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And he's taking over Ryan Suter and putting some actual good memories with Ryan Suter's number.
20 for days. So it should be a lot of fun. We're going to finish with a couple of potentially hot takes that have to do with Connor Dewar's responsibilities this season. And so we'll finish today's episode of Locked on Wild after this. Final segment of today's episode of Locked on Wild. Once again, thank you for making Locked on Wild your first listen each and every day. Again, your second episode today, bonus episode, talking about Jack Pert with Nick Maxon will be available later. So make sure to tune in for that as well. Seth Topal joined by Marissa Voss. All right, Marissa, we're going to go with some hot takes.
All right, let's do it.
It's involving things that Connor Dewar does for this team. The first one is the penalty kill. Mm-hmm. Being that Dewar has become one of the more important pieces of this Wild penalty kill, and at least according to Daily Faceoff, is expected to be one of the PK starters. Can he help quarterback this team? Can he help lead this penalty kill unit inside the top 10 to close to a top 5 penalty kill unit? Is that a hot take?
Ooh, it's not hot. It's not scolding, it's not hot, but it's simmering. It's right on the edge. I think we do have a potentially a good chance to do well for the PK, but to get us in top 10, it's really hard. Again, you're going to have Dewey to step up. You're going to have your guys who are great on the penalty kill step up, and obviously have your goalie be a force of nature. Obviously, having Gus with that extension is going to be amazing for us. I think it is a little bit of a hot take, though. We struggled a little bit with our PK at times throughout the season, and I think there's going to be a need to be the best we can be and a lot of work on that when it comes to boot camp. So,
yeah, there's a lot that goes into the penalty kill that comes down to the opportunities, whether or not you win the face-off, what your opponent has dialed up for right off the face-off, as we saw against the Dallas Stars. So it comes down to just reacting quickly enough to be able to stop catastrophic things. Catastrophic.
Catastrophic? Did you say catastrophic?
I don't know where I was going there. I think I was trying to combine disaster and catastrophic, but catastrophic things from happening.
There we go.
That's a big key for the
It's
penalty kills. So I'm hoping that it'll be somewhere inside the top 10. They were right at 10 this past season.
mhm.
And so hopefully they can up it a couple of percentage points and can just continue to have some special team success, at least on that side. As far as the top or the fourth line in general goes, is it a hot take to say that the Wild's fourth line is in the Western Conference a top 5 fourth line?
Oh, that's not a hot take. In my opinion, I don't think that's a hot take. I think you saw it last year, especially with how well the guys were grooving, how well they were doing. And I want to be very, very sensitive or like kind of tiptoe around this, not try to piss people off. But I think you saw the best our fourth line did was when Kirill Kaprizov was out. Because some people have said he's a puck hog. I'm not saying it. Some people have. Don't come at me. But it does indicate that when he was out, our team was playing super well from the first line to the second line to the third line to the fourth line. We were doing well. We were getting goals.
Yeah.
We were being that team. But I think that you saw one of the best fourth lines in America during that time with Matt Boldy getting hot. And I think that that's going to be what happens again this year with Pat Maroon. And I'm excited, but I definitely think that we have one of the best lines.
And the reason that I bring that up is because I'm actually going to go through for an episode later this week and rank them. We're doing more of the rankings for Locked On Wild this season. And so I'll actually go through all of the Western Conference teams and we'll rank the fourth lines because I do think the Wild have one of the better ones in the West. And so I don't think that's a hot take at all. The final one that we'll finish with today, Marissa, Connor Dewar has definitely fought a shark before, right? He's just
Absolutely.
not telling us. That's not a hot take, is it?
No, listen, there is no way that you grew up in Manitoba and you don't fight some sharks, right? You know exactly what's going on. And he was so confident when he said it. So absolutely, that is not a hot take. He's seen some things. He's fought some sharks.
Yeah.
He's just a dog. He's just a dog fighting a shark.
Pitbull. What are you going to do if you see one? I'll fight it.
Pitbull. He's just a
I will
pitbull.
never. That quote lives rent free in my head and will for a long time. So I think the summary of everything that we've discussed today can be condensed into we're hoping for big things from Connor Dewar for this upcoming season. And with an expanded role being a pivotal part of the penalty kill and also helping out in the shorthanded goal department, he should deliver. And so we'll see if he does. And that will wrap it up for today's episode of Locked On Wild. Again, make sure you give Marissa Voss a follow on Twitter. Check out the entire crew at 10,000 Takes and Wild Takes as well as we get closer to the season. Make sure you subscribe to Locked On Wild if you have not already on YouTube and your favorite podcast platform so you don't miss out on anything that Locked On Wild Boot Camp has to offer as we guide you through up until the season starts on October 12th. You can find new episodes every Monday through Friday as part of the Locked On Podcast Network.